So guys, dropped my whole rod. What is up? Check this out. Good little fish on a jig, and a very special jig. Check it out. Stop, buddy. There you go. Hole. Oh, good fish. First one I landed on that jig, a little ways back. I lost one on it, or I had one on, came off right at the boat. But check this out. I don't know if I've mentioned it on the channel recently, but I've been making baits. When the pandemic first hit back in March, got quarantined from work for a little while. I didn't test positive or not, but had a potential exposure, so they quarantined us. Long story short, did a lot of crafting with my wife. She was doing her crafting stuff, and I started making some baits. Started out with this. I'll show y'all that in a sec. Started out making my own vibrating jigs. Like I said, I've been doing it since March. So, a while now, trying to perfect everything. The day before Thanksgiving, I went out with Grandpa in his boat and caught my first fish on this exact vibrating jig right here, bladed jig. It's a 3/8 ounce Arky style jig head. I been hand tying the skirts. This is a hand tied skirt. It's like a pearl bluish bottom and a white silver type shad pattern top. A little bit of the paint's chipped off on this one. Got to refine that a little, get something to keep that there, but painted it with some silver pearl paint, added some silver glitter, put the eyes on it. Bladed jig head I've hand tuned. I've been doing a lot of R&D with that, trying to get that right. This one has been the best one so far. Obviously I caught a fish with it, like I said the other week. So I'm starting to fine tune, hand tuning with a bend the blade. Got a line tie put on there. You can't see it or tell it, but there's also a hand tied nylon bait keeper on this one. I've been toying around, trying to refine that. I've tried the wire ties, I've tried copper, but I think this is the one I like the best. I mean, it keeps that bait on there snug. Hand tied wire keeper. This is a, like I said, 3/8 ounce head. I just ordered some 1/2 ounce. I'm gonna make them in a 1/2 ounce. It's on a mustad. Can't remember the size hook that's on. 3 or 4/0 maybe. Not sure. But mustad hook. I've also been making soft plastics. This is a swim bait that I hand injected, handmade. It is a laminate, which means there's two. Yeah, this is a laminate, two different colors. I'm not gonna be able to tell it on camera. There's a I use pearlescent powder. Or there's I heard a shad or something down there. It's like a bluish pearl and a greenish pearl. The top half of the swim bait is the bluish, or maybe it's the greenish. It's hard to tell right now. They're pretty close, but it's a pearlescent shad. Handmade the shad. Handmade the bladed jig. And caught my first fish on that day before Thanksgiving. Like I said, still trying to perfect the recipe on that. This one's been working amazing, running great. Caught a fish on it. One I made last night, I've been fishing today. It has been working great. So it started with the bladed jigs, and then that was the first fish I landed. Like I said, I missed one at the boat right here earlier. Landed that guy on the cast and flipping jig I made. This is I believe it's also a 3/8 ounce. It's a cast and flipping jig. I painted this one also. Did powder paint on this. Came out amazing. Great finish on that. It's brown. So, I mean, durable paint on there. That powder paint. Baked the jig for 10 or 15 minutes in the oven. Can't remember the temperature. Take it out, dip it in the powder paint. Be sure to clean your line eye so that don't fill up. Also clean the weed guard hole so that don't fill up with paint. Knock off the excess, throw it back in the oven, bake it another 10 to 15. Durable, man. Hand tied this skirt. It's a little brown and black. Some brown. It's called living rubber. It's like the ribbed type skirt with a strip of yellow in the belly. Super glue your weed guard in there, and it's the first fish on the jig I made. Second day I fished it. I fished yesterday, more on that in a little bit, but been making baits, man, it's awesome. It's extremely rewarding to catch a fish on a bait you made, to know it's working right and the fish are biting it. That's cool, man. I've also made swim jigs. Made some soft plastic crawls. I got some more of them coming, trailers for the baits, a crawl type chunk, and then a crawl, more of a crawl, kind of like this. This is the Berkeley chigger bug on this one. Just ordered my jig trailer molds to make the soft plastics last night, so they're not in yet, but that's awesome. See if we can get some more. So, like I said, I went yesterday. Kind of a interesting story to go with that. and that leads me to a few other things I want to talk about. Went yesterday. The water temps were about there, kind of around what they are now, around 55 degrees. So, a couple things I want to talk about when you're fishing, wintertime, cold water temp. First off, make sure to wear your life vest. If you fall in, this water's cold, you could go into shock. Make sure you wear your life vest. Second, to go with that, make sure you have a change of clothes, dry clothes, whether with you, in the boat, or in the truck, preferably with you in the boat, because if you fall out in this cold water, you're going to want to get out of those cold, wet clothes. I promise you that. My grandpa fell in last winter, I believe it was. Luckily, he had a buddy with him. He went to shock. I mean, he was wearing all these layers, hoodies, sweatshirts, you know, because it was, right here's where I lost the one earlier, because it was so cold. Luckily, his buddy got him out. So, take it serious, guys. It can be dangerous. What else has been going on? This is the first time I've been out in the kayak, well, other than yesterday. Since the last tournament video I posted at Kerr Lake. Good to be out. I have since then and recently Feelfree Kayaks upgraded me from a brand ambassador to their pro staff team. Extremely excited, humbled about that. It's awesome. So I'm now a part of the Feelfree fishing team, which is awesome. And on that note, and to wrap it all in, the cold weather, fishing yesterday, yesterday fishing. Hold on. Those sets are free. It's not a bite. The stability of what I fish out of, the Three Waters Kayaks Big Fish 120. Three Waters Kayaks is a brand owned by Feelfree Kayaks. They have Feelfree Kayaks, Three Waters Kayaks, Johnny Boats, and Sea Stream Kayaks, which I mean, I can only speak about 3 waters. I can only speak about 3 waters, but it's extremely stable. I didn't really realize how great and stable of a kayak it was. Until yesterday. I was out with some other folks. They were in other brands of kayaks. And they were struggling. They were not nowhere near stable. They were wobbly. Somebody fell in because of the lack of stability, which goes around to the being safe. They have their life jacket on. But I've taken it for granted. I didn't realize exactly how awesome this 3 Waters Big Fish 120 was until I saw, or I would say are probably inexperienced kayakers. In inferior boats, in my opinion. I mean, like I said, it was no stability compared to this. So please check out 3 Waters Kayaks, Feelfree Kayaks, and all of their sister companies. So does that get us up to date? Making baits, they're working. Winter safety. Upgraded to pro staff. The amazingness of Feelfree's products. I have not yet repaired my motor from when the high gear went out at Gunnersville. Still only have the low gear. Definitely got to get that done this off season. Not sure if I want to. So my options are, obviously I'm going to check this, see if it can be repaired. I have not done that yet, but I'll try to do that this weekend. If it cannot be repaired, my options I think are going to be to get this same brand of trolling motor that's I have now and replace the trolling motor within this setup. Or look at another option. Like I said, Feelfree offers an overdrive system which has a you can add a motor drive to it. The overdrive system is a pedal drive. Then you can buy the motor drive that plugs right into that and motorizes your boat. So I can look at that option with Feelfree. I could also looking at other options where the motor is on the back of the kayak as opposed to the pod where it is now. So, trying to figure out what I want to do there. If you guys want to comment what kind of setup you have, if you have your motor in the back, the pros and cons, if you have your motor in your pod like I do. Let me know what y'all think about that. This is where I called that last one right here. Speaking of motors, I wanted to touch on briefly, and that is just the advantages and help it gives you. Like I said yesterday, the guys that were paddling, even with just the low gear, I mean, and I did it before I had the motor. Paddled everywhere I went, had to fight the wind, but I've had a motor for so long now, going back and seeing guys that are paddling, trying to reposition, fish, paddle. The advantages, the motor makes you so much more efficient. You can fish hands-free. You don't have to fight the wind. It's been windy here today. You just click on your motor. I mean, the advantages are amazing. I know, people say, disadvantages, they're probably going to be pricey unless you do your own DIY trolling motor setup, which a ton of guys do, and whatever works. Yeah, I mean, the advantages far outweigh the disadvantages if you can afford it. Go for it. I highly recommend it. Covers so much more water, helps in the wind, so much more efficient, like I said. What other updates that I have? Like I said, speaking of the motor and the affordability, like I said, whatever you can afford, that's your best option. I'm a firm believer in that. When I can only speak for myself, when I started out, I bought the kayak I could afford at the time, and it served me well until I got upgraded to this 3 Waters Big Fish 120. I got hand-me-down rods from my grandpa, or we have there. Hand-me-down rods from grandpa, or a rod or reel or combo I bought was entry level, what I could afford. There's nothing wrong with that. So that is my advice to people starting out. Buy the kayak you can afford, but please, I highly recommend get out, demo a kayak first. Go to Great Outdoor Provision Company, a Feelfree dealer, where I got the 3 Waters. They'll let you demo boats. I don't know about the big chain stores, like Bass Pro, Jigs, Academy, stuff like that. I don't know if they will let you demo their kayaks, but an outdoors outfitter type store will generally, a smaller business, let you demo their kayaks, and they have demo days. I highly recommend getting in the kayak, testing the stability, how it tracks, how it paddles. I definitely recommend trying one out before you pull the trigger on it. I know I'm kind of rambling, but man, it's good to be out fishing. It's nice weather today. Water temp's 55. It's kind of coming up to a lay down here. Get another bite on this jig, so I'm kind of focusing on that right now. So back to what you can afford. You know, I've started out with a hodgepodge of rod and reels and used what I could afford. As I've advanced through my fishing career, I've found things I like. You guys have heard me talk about them before. Dobbins rods, highly recommend. Huge fan of theirs. This is their crankbait rod. The fish I just caught on is they're 7'3". Among other things, it's the jig rod. So I'm starting to learn what I like, and then these companies, you tailor your budget around what they have. Another company I love is Lose. This is a Lose combo, the Mach 2 speed stick, Lose reels. They're amazing. Like I said, this is a brand new Lose reel. The Team Lose Pro TI. That thing's like a Lexus, man. Shiny, carbon fiber. Very high-end, high-quality rod. But Lose, Dobbins, I mean, they offer every price point you could imagine. That's very high-end. The speed stick is high-end, mid-level. Amazing. The carbon blue GT Lose I have is kind of a lower, more affordable option, but still great rod and reel. A bite or some rocks? Let's see. Felt good. So yeah, find what you like, that works for you, and the price point. Like for me, that's Lose, that's Dobbins rods. Must be a bunch of rocks there. Let's take a bite. There it is. Oh. There went my handmade jig. That sucks. And there's the fish that has it, I bet. there flopping around. He just come up. I bet tried to shake the jig loose. Gummit. See if he'll bite something else, man, and get my jig back. Heck, huh? Definitely a bite. Alright, sorry about that. It was a mess. Speaking of quality gear that you can afford, it's the carbon blue GT I was just talking about. It's loose. When I just set the hook and lost that jig, my rod hit this, bent a couple eyes. Like I said, this is an affordable combo. It came as a combo, $100 or so range, give or take a little. But durable. I mean, I bent one eye back, straightened it back out. It's good. Kind of made another one a little crooked, which I'll have to tune with some pliers, but good durable eyes on these things. So yeah, I'll land my plane with that, but get good quality stuff in your price range. Going back to the motor, people say, why spend that much if you put a motor on a kayak? Why don't you just get a boat? It's what you can afford, and like I said, having the motor helps me tremendously, far outweighs the expenses. Going back to the jig, let me check this rod, because I hope this thing's alright. Already replaced it once. Speaking of what you can afford and durability, another thing is customer service. That's what had me hooked on Dobbins rods. I had one, this exact rod, fishing a jig a couple tournaments ago. Back in the summer, set the hook, jig flew back, hit the rod blank, cracked it. Dobbins rod, a little crooked. Alright, Dobbins Rods offers hassle-free replacement on their rods. No matter what the reason the rod broke. Now, if it was a manufacturer defect, Dobbins Rods will replace it for free, no questions asked. But if it's something you did, like break it setting the hook, you pay a small replacement fee, which was $50 for this series, and shipping, and they send you a new one. And there it is. Like the price points I talked about with Lose, Dobbins Rods offers everything. This is the Fury series, which is like their second step up. I think these rods are $180 range, maybe. They have a series of rods cheaper than that. They have, I believe their top of the line is the Champion series, if I'm not mistaken. They're in the $200 range, so I've rambled enough about that, but I think it's important. So I guess right now nice little brush hog in there. Supposed to retime a jig. Man, that stinks. So now I know both sides of making your own bait. The reward you feel when you catch a bait. The vibrating jig I made, that jig. Reward is extremely rewarding when you catch a fish on something you made. But that, on the other end of the spectrum, is heartbreaking. To put in that work and time to make that jig and to lose it, that sucks. But is that another fish light? That was definitely a bite, because that fish come up and was trying to shake the jig loose from his mouth after I broke it off. So I'm done rambling, I guess. It's good to be out, man. It's beautiful. Missed it. Alright guys, I'm done rambling for the day. It's good to be out here. Beautiful. 3 fish on the homemade jig. I think I went over everything. Just wanted to catch you guys up on stuff. Get out here on the water. Go fish. Get a kayak, rent a kayak, borrow a kayak, demo a kayak. Go out and try kayak fishing, man. It's fun. I love it. If you go out in the winter, be safe. Always. Winter, summer, spring, fall. Anytime you're out in the kayak, wear a PFD, I'm sorry. Don't wear a PDF file, wear a PFD, personal flotation device, life jacket. You never know what could happen. Extremely important, could save your life. If you go out in the winter, be careful. Be cognizant of falling in, wear a change of clothes. Talked about being upgraded to Feelfree Kayaks Pro staff. Huge thank you to Feelfree Kayaks. Stoked and honored to be a part of the team. Be on the lookout for more baits I'm making. Handmade baits. They're working for me. Enjoying it. Trying to fine-tune everything. So be more of that to come. Buy the good quality gear that you can afford. Get out there and fish, man. I want to say quick shout out. He's been telling me he wants a shout out, so shout out to my boy Ski, Chris Wisniewski, buddy from work. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you viewing the videos. Good to be out. Good to see you guys. It's early December, so we'll be out again. But just gotta play it by ear, by the weather. Heron up there? Looks like it. I think that's herring, which is always a good sign. So Grandpa says we fish for fun, they fish for food, survival. So if you see a heron on the bank, it's a good chance there's shad in the area, which means there's bass in the area. But thanks for tuning in, guys. Please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. Please follow me on Instagram at CharlieYakDaddy. And we'll see you guys next time on the water.